Want to play roulette? Here's a tip. European roulette has a lower house edge than American style. The lower the house edge, the better shot you have at winning. Most online casinos offer European roulette. So, if I were you, I'd get spinning. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's get after it. Game Time Decisions live with you on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh here on this Monday night with a fantastic Major League Baseball slate where I feel as if, I don't know about you, but this weekend, tread water a little bit, attack here and there. Some of the bounce back trends, things are thrown off coming out from that All-Star break, but I think this week we start to really settle back in, and I love what we have. There are games starting in 10 minutes. We are featuring rivalries, Cy Young candidates, MVP favorites, everything to get to. I want to run through all the action that we're offering up tonight. We'll stop and stare a little bit at some of those key spots, and we're going to really focus on the Major League Baseball board here early going. Let's start with some best bets, where myself and where the crew is looking to line up. I usually give you a straight for a best bet. I have a hit-run RBI parlay. There's an odds boost over on DK for the market, and I'm getting involved with two AL East boppers, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, and Gunnar Henderson will be getting underway soon for Baltimore. With that boost, you're getting plus 276 for hit-run RBI. Yankees-Jays, by the way, will be our main event tonight. No surprise, so action for Chris in that one as well. For each team to score 3+ runs is minus 115. Basically, it would be a alt-team total parlay of over 2.5 for both. I like that look. Runs expected at Coors tonight. Agree. With the juice between Gomber and McGreevy, we're seeing 11.5. That St. Louis team total is high. May not be high enough. And then it's A's money line for AJ. And another valid look. Leiter could get beat up. I understand they're home, but the Rangers may be too big of a favorite. So AJ is going with the A's at minus 102 on the money line. That's where the best bet stands. Let's put some moonshots on the board. Let's climb the ladder. The shortest price we have for you tonight is basically 9-1. That belongs to Chris. This is where he put his hit-run RBI boost, going with Aaron Judge as well, and pairing him with Jose Ramirez, Brandon Nimmo, and then his guy Aranda making the cut as well. That's a 9-1 price. Look at AJ's, maybe my favorite from anybody up there, even though that includes one of my own. Skeens, no-hitter through 5, 24-1. Paul Skeens tonight, who enters this game not as the favorite for the NL Cy Young. This has been a changing market throughout this season, and a lot of it has to do with how good Zach Wheeler has been, but it also has to do with Paul Skeens not landing in the win column. Minus 130 on Zach Wheeler, even money on Paul Skeens. I think one of the most interesting things about Skeens tonight, will he be getting back to his normal workload, 90 or more pitches? If you look at the final 4 starts before the All-Star game, the Pirates were clearly slowing Skeens down. He did not throw over 80 pitches in 3 of those 4 games. He did not go beyond 5 innings in any of those games. What do we see from Paul Skeens tonight? AJ thinks he could be having a no-hitter through the first 5. I put Skeens for 6 Ks with Zach Gallen and George Kirby late night for 5 Ks on a little strikeout parlay. Getting back to your moonshots, though, I went with an alt-team total parlay. Orioles, Yanks, A's, Cardinals. We're getting plus 1265. Chaos there from Sam Yarnell. Castellanos, Trey Turner, both to hit a home run. You're getting 55-1 nearly on that. He is going to play both of those singularly this evening as the fade is on of Walker Buehler. But Walker Buehler, whether he's good or not, the expectation is Zach Wheeler will pitch a gem. Wheeler didn't have his best stuff heading into the break, only went 6 innings, giving up 4 earned runs in what was a team loss. He wasn't credited the loss against the Padres, but Zach Wheeler has just been absolutely wonderful. He lost, or again, the Phillies lost 2 straight Zach Wheeler starts in early April. That has not happened since that point. It puts the Phils in a spot where you expect them to make good on their big-time moneyline favorite status. I expect an under in that game, which is coming up at 645. Zach Wheeler, again, should be really, really good. Walker Buehler's been better of late. He's not been amazing, but he's not been pitching to that 6 ERA within the last 2 starts that we saw from Walker Buehler. I'm wondering if maybe out of the All-Star break, does he settle in a little bit here and start to give the Red Sox some quality? Again, I don't know if Walker Buehler ever gets back to the guy who we felt like was a certainty to one day win a Cy Young. I don't believe Walker Buehler has a Cy Young in the trophy case. But is Walker Buehler going to be able to be a little bit better for Boston? I think that's on the board. I'm playing under the 8 in that game. Let me make sure if there's anything else that we're missing that is about to get underway here. I do not think that is the case. So let's just quickly go through your 640 Major League Baseball starts just one more time. We're within that range. At 640, we've got Guardians, Orioles, Tanner Bybee against Sagano. I think Baltimore's live. I like Gunnar Henderson quite a bit in that spot. Marlins, Padres. Yuri Perez has been great for this team in his last 3 starts after being pretty hittable in the prior 4. I get it. I think it's gone a little far. Am I the only one who hesitated when I saw the price today on Miami over minus 140? And look, I played a Marlins team total, win total over, so I love that they're playing better baseball. I took a plus 120 shot on the Padres. I know Vasquez isn't great, but still, like, plus 120 against the Marlins, I think this may be top of the market on Miami. I thought that was worth a look. Nats, Reds, I couldn't get there in this game, but Irvin might be worthy of a fade with his most recent start before the break coming in where he gave up no earned runs. There were still 3 scored while he was out there through the 5 innings, but maybe he could be a little bit vulnerable here in this spot. I backed away from it ultimately. But again, the 2 key games within the earliest portion of the Major League Baseball board tonight, it's Pirates, Tigers, it's Phillies, Red Sox. And you still see, by the way, I mean, the power of Paul Skeens. The Pittsburgh Pirates are 39-61. That puts them just 21 games back of the Detroit Tigers, who have the best record in Major League Baseball. They go at it tonight. You know, when I saw that this game prior to actually seeing the price, I thought to myself, man, we should be able to get a nice Pittsburgh number here. I'm not saying the Pittsburgh number is wrong, but I'm not running to bet, better than minus 125 with the Pittsburgh Pirates going up against the team with the best record in baseball. Because the thing is, if you have gone out there this season and you've said Paul Skeens is starting, let me get involved, you're not making good on that. It's not as if they are out there, he himself is sitting on a 4-8 record. It's not like they are victorious in all of his no decisions. It's obviously been a frustrating season for Skeens. That record, I think, is still the primary reason he is not the favorite. I think Skeens, I'm very interested to see how long he goes tonight. I think he could have himself a very, very good game here against Detroit. And then what do we get out of Wheeler going up against Walker Buehler? I am on the under 8 in Phillies Red Sox. Let's talk Yankees Blue Jays next. Huge game in the AL East. We'll break it down right here on SportsGrid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
All right, live to right here on SportsGrid, going through your Major League Baseball slate. We are underway with a couple of games already. Paul Skeens is 2 outs in about 6 pitches, so he's moving along nicely. Our main event tonight, though, I think it has to be Blue Jays-Yankees because of all the Major League Baseball series that we've had so far this season. I feel like Toronto's 4-game sweep of the Yanks is the most noteworthy. It flipped the division in terms of the standings, and it obviously did a lot to move the market and who was going to be positioned as the favorite. And I really believe with the 3-game lead Toronto enters with, If they win this series, I think it's absolutely on the board that Toronto could find themselves now positioned as the favorites in the American League East. It's 3 games. They are home for 3 games. It's Gaussman Road on tonight. The expectations, it'll be Max Scherzer against Schittler on Tuesday, and then it'll be Bassett against Max Fried on Wednesday. Yanks favor tonight. I am pretty positive they would be favored in that 3rd game, but you see the series odds, -115. So books feeling as if this is a little bit more of a toss-up here. Someone's going to win this series. If the Jays pull off another sweep, they are absolutely going to be favorites. If the Yankees are able to get the job, Gunnar Henderson cash, people. I mean, what do you want me to say? We're getting great updates in the back. We just love what we're seeing here. Wow, we love what we're seeing here. It's hot early. Get underway. Is that even true? It sure is. It's an RBI. It's an RBI-based knock. That's nice. That's real nice. Now, let's look at what we've seen from some of the head-to-head here between the Jays and the Yankees so far this season. They have played 7 games. Toronto has won 5 of the 7. So that right there, that is the difference when it comes to these teams and their standing right now within the division. You can see that these have not necessarily been the closest games. There's been some high-scoring affairs between these groups. And that is the big thing, is that we've seen 12 runs. And I know that's a big reason that, Chris went to each team for 3 runs within this game. I'm playing the Yankees on the money line. I think the Yankees are in a good spot here. I don't think that the New York Yankees should be losing 6 of 8 to Toronto. I don't think they should be losing what would be 5 in a row to Toronto. I think that the Yankees really impressively pulled back that series against Atlanta. I understand that the Braves record-wise, it's, not the shiniest group in all of Major League Baseball. But the Yankees, after dropping the first game, were a dog going into the final game of that series, and they get the job done because Big 99 puts one out to put them off on the right foot there. And Rodon is simply better than Gaussman. So you have a pitching advantage, and I think that it tracks ultimately going into this spot here. So give me the Yankees on the money line, and we're now waiting on Aaron Judge for 2+ hit run RBI to make good on a best bet wager where we played Judge with Gunnar Henderson. Look, a little under the hat. Aaron Judge to home run tonight. They're doing this 5 days of dingers over on FanDuel, so that went up to around, I think plus 280. If you're interested in getting in the mix there, that's what we were able to get in the mix with. What am I missing Major League Baseball-wise? Oh, the other New York team. I'm actually playing Mets Angels under the 8.5. Kodai Senga's been awesome this season, but he has been injured. I think that's one of the bigger reasons he wasn't involved in the All-Star game. I don't know how much he'll be used. 4 innings of work, 67 pitches in his first start back. If you get 5 out of Senga tonight, you'll be really happy with that. Tyler Anderson, it's very touch and go. But when he's on, and he's not been on in his most 2 recent starts, one against Arizona, one against Toronto. I think he could be on tonight. I like under 8.5 at -110. I think we're getting a pretty good number there for the Mets, who salvaged the series against the Reds. They did lose on David Wright night, but this is a team who, you look at the race that you've got going on between the Mets and the Phillies right now. It's a half game of separation. The New York Mets have to be able to make good here on this series against the Angels. They're then going to go out west for 6 in a row. A lot of moving around, a lot of traveling there. You want to make good when you bring a team like the Angels into your ballpark, and I think that they can do just that. We'll give you some other thoughts on just some of these games here, because I know that there's a lot going on this baseball board, and we'll talk about it throughout our show tonight. I believe we have Joe Madden stopping by. We'll get some baseball picks from her, Tom Vecchio, a little bit later on as well. You've got Braves-Giants in that 7:15 window. Bryce Elder getting the baseball. Elder's been maddening. There's been some really good starts in there. There's been some atrocious ones. I'm kind of hand-waving a Bryce Elder start. No, thank you. Baz against Burke in Rays White Sox. Lenyn Sosa, to me, doesn't look bad tonight. Lenyn Sosa, if you want to get involved, going up against Baz, who left me waiting on a more recent strikeout parlay, but no one cares about that. Cubs Royals, no PCA in the lineup tonight. That's really the headline here. I just realized I'm burying a headline. What is wrong with me? 100% blame pie. Okay, Dubs. Shohei's pitching tonight. Shohei Ohtani. I remembered because I'm, PCA. And Ohtani right now has thrown 9 innings. So we're now up to a full game. 5 hits, 1 earned run, 10 Ks, 2 walks. Real good stuff. The thing with the Dodgers right now is because Shohei is not, it's not on the board for Ohtani to give them ace stuff. He's not allowed to go 5, 6 innings. We think he goes 3 tonight. We think probably. I don't know. It's a little weird that he's not on like a normal set just because of the All-Star game. But the Dodgers right now need his bat. Freeman injured. Mookie Betts, disaster right now at the dish. Shohei's first 2 games as a starting pitcher, and he went an inning in each of those games. At the dish, dialed. 4 of 8, 7 RBI. You love to see it. His last 3, where he's gone 2 or more innings, 1 for 12. Something or nothing. You can be the judge tonight, but it's there. Those are the numbers. Those are not skewed in any other way. First 2, all the hitting, all the power, all the great stuff. 3 most recent games when he pitches, doesn't look like Shohei Ohtani. Something to watch. We'll be right back. We're with you here on Sports.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single-season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do that after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay. Come on. We're allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that. The bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bank.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 guaranteed million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid. Little update, all right? I think it's going to be one of those nights where we are, for me, I'll just say this right now. We're going to do a little football in a minute. Major League Baseball has my attention second half right now. Like, I am ready and excited to talk football. We're going to do that today on our show. But, like, for example, Wheeler versus Skeens is real. I'd like for them to start on the same day every day or, like, one after the other. Paul Skeens, first inning, 10 pitches, a strikeout. Great. Zach Wheeler, first inning, first batter, home run. All of a sudden, he's minus 115 to win Cy Young. The numbers move. It's fun. We're tracking. We're following. Now, something that Well, fun depends. This is fun if you are not a Cowboy fan, because it's hilarious. And if you are a Cowboy fan, it's maddening. And if you're somebody who is interested in Cowboys futures, it's almost enough maybe to make you completely back off of that decision. Micah Parsons has not yet signed a contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Something that feels absolutely inevitable. In fact, because of the unnecessary delays around Dak and CeeDee Lamb, the Micah Parsons stuff has almost been boring. We know that the Cowboys are mishandling the situation, but we know they're going to pay him because it's what they did with Lamb and it's what they did with Dak. It feels like it lacks drama. Oh, the Cowboys are messing up a contract situation? Of course. But is there really much to talk about? And I wonder if Jerry Jones had that same sense. Like, you know what, man? When it was the Dak stuff, people were wondering, like, what's going on? And no one's wondering about this Micah stuff. Micah looked a little too comfortable when he told The Undertaker management wants to wait, but it'll be fine. So Jerry Jones decided to pour gasoline on a situation that should have been handled a year ago. Here's Jerry Jones talking about Micah Parsons.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Jerry Jones has been involved with the Cowboys forever. Jerry Jones is the Dallas Cowboys. And it is something that people have viewed as one of the big detriments to this team over more recent seasons. I feel as if that is something that has been ramped up a little bit. And I am not sure if I would credit Dak Prescott throwing a pick 6 to a Green Bay Packer in a 2-7 game in Dallas to Jerry Jones, right? But I got to tell you, I think about how the Cowboys season ended, what I was thinking at the time and what I feel now. Jerry Jones has a lot to blame. When the Dallas Cowboys season ended, I thought to myself, you know what? There's a lot of negative talk around this team. We're going to see some value where we're going to be able to get basement-level prices on Dak Prescott, who has had MVP-ish caliber seasons before, CeeDee Lamb, who can be one of the best wide receivers in football, an offensive line that continually produces. We know Micah Parsons is a superstar. And if Mike McCarthy's gone, what if they get the head coach hire right? And there's all this to be excited about, right? Well, no. They didn't fire Mike McCarthy. They lost out on Mike McCarthy to no one. He doesn't even have a job. They wanted to bring back Mike McCarthy. Nobody else wanted Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy just now doesn't have a job. They elevate the offensive coordinator who does not have this shiny approval rating. It's not like when Kellen Moore was there. So that automatically threw things off a little bit. Then you go and you check the roster, and you remember, oh, man, yes, since they're paying all that money to Dak and Lamb, it's not necessarily been perfect to figure everything out and get everything running in the right direction. But at least they have those 2 superstars. So then where do they spend their offseason? First-round draft choice, offensive guard. He could be really good. Defense could have used that help, though. They make a nice trade. George Pickens, I think he has upsides. Defense could have used that help, though. And what they are left with is a defensive roster that feels like 10 guys and 1 megastar. So what they're doing is everything possible to upset the megastar. It's ridiculous. They should be one of the best buy low candidates in football, and I want nothing to do with them. Get Adam Kaplan's perspective next with you here on SportsGrid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single-season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do that after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay. Come on. We're allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that, the bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bank.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 guaranteed million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Runs aplenty in Cleveland. A 3-run first inning by Baltimore, matched in just 3 batters by the Guardians. Jose Ramirez with a 3-run home run. We'll continue to update you on the Major League Baseball board, which is seeing Washington jump all over Cincinnati as well. They lead 4-0 in the first. But like I said, Major League Baseball going to get plenty of attention. You're starting to get that football feel. Training camps are getting underway, and it means we got to talk to Adam Kaplan, a longtime NFL insider. And Cap, I'll just start with the Cowboys since we just talked about it here on the show.
Yeah.
The Micah Parsons stuff, it felt as if it was almost uninteresting because the contract felt inevitable. And I guess Jerry just is getting bored. What do you make of Jerry Jones' comments today around their star player?
So basically, look, Micah had private conversations and some negotiations with Jerry privately. The two know each other very well. Micah really understands the business. Jerry actually said that today, which surprised me. Micah really understands the landscape of where the money is going. And the only question here is, will it beat TJ Watt's deal? It should, because he's 4.5 years younger and rises in the cap. That edge position is one of the top 3, top 4 in the National Football League. So that's really not an issue in terms of him getting a contract. It's what the full guarantee at signing will be, and the average per year, will it beat TJ Watt? And I got to give the Steelers credit for stepping up. They did a better deal than I thought they would do. But the Micah one, barring a highly unforeseen circumstance, Kevin, was going to get done. Now, I don't put timelines on this stuff because I've covered this business 27 years. You could talk to the agent, you could talk to the GM. They both agree it's almost done. They hit a snag, they disagree, and they walk away. So you never know what's going to happen with this stuff, but one way or the other, I expect this to get done.
Yeah, and I think we all do, right? If you're Jerry, I don't know why you would want to ruffle those feathers and potentially put Parsons in a situation where he escalates it to what Myles Garrett did. Now, Myles ended up getting paid and staying. I think you hit the nail on the head, though. I don't know how you could possibly give Parsons a deal cheaper than TJ Watt's, all things considered. The reality for Dallas, though, is they at least have some competition for the What Are You Doing award, with, of course, everything going on in Cincinnati. I mean, Cat, this is a team who last year, it feels like everybody agrees, man, if the defense didn't even have to be average, just not atrocious, could have not just made the playoffs, but a legitimate run. And it's why they put a first-round draft choice into Shamar Stewart. But one of the other reasons they put a first-round draft choice into Shamar Stewart is they thought, well, maybe we won't be able to bring back Trey Hendrickson. And now this team might not have either guy. They may not get a return for either guy. What is happening in Cincinnati?
All right, Kevin, they've actually made pretty good progress with Trey Hendrickson. And what we always have to understand is teams don't operate on the same deadline that agents or players do. They like to wait till they have something hanging over their head, which is the start of training camp. Now, for Hendrickson, he gets a heavy fine per day that he's not there, that he doesn't report. So that's something to keep an eye on. But look, they've made a lot of progress here. Now here's the thing. Trey Hendrickson's actually 2 months younger than TJ Watt. And Trey Hendrickson's a phenomenal football player. Now, some people would say JJ Watt's got a little better versatility. That's certainly a little bit subjective, debatable. But the sack numbers are phenomenal. The pressure numbers are phenomenal. And let's not forget, Kevin, where he also has leverage. Sam Hubbard, their other defensive end, he retired. Shamar Stewart is not signed yet, okay? That issue, and basically the way I understand it, Kevin, in the default language, they don't want to do the same language as Amarius Mims had last year. They want to change it. That to me is ridiculous. You can't do that. And by the way, when you do that, you set a bad precedent because that will ruffle feathers. Most of the stuff, Kevin, when the Michael Parsons stuff will not matter in terms of the season. As long as they get him done by the time the season starts, it's not going to matter. All the hand wringing, it matters not at all. I'm telling you that. I've covered this business for as long as I have. But when you continually do business a certain way, I remember Carl Pickens. I don't know if you're old enough to remember Carl Pickens. He was a big-time receiver for the Bengals. Carl, I remembered him telling me earlier this year that one of the things that happened with him when he was with the Bengals was he wanted out, and he didn't care about losing his signing bonus. He forfeited like $1 million because he didn't like the way they did business. They weren't trying to be competitive. And that's why, as I turn it forward here, Kevin, back to you, when they re-signed T. Higgins, there were a lot of people around the league said, hey, wait a minute, you're not a cash-rich team like most other teams.
Yeah.
Kevin, as you said, their defense was atrocious last season. Why don't you load up on defense? T. Higgins is a nice player. He's really one of the best number 2 receivers in the National Football League. But why pay him that big number where you've got Trey Henderson, who's an absolute superstar at edge? You always build a defense. Why haven't the Bengals been back to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years? It's real simple. They haven't built the team the right way. They looked like they were on their way in 2021, Kevin. Not so much after that.
Yeah, and the one thing I would say, Cap, and I think you would agree, the only thing that does matter, the longer you wait. You're right, the deals can get done. You cost yourself money, right? Yeah. And they cost them. Waiting to pay Jamar Chase is insane. He was immediately brilliant the second he stepped on an NFL field, and the same is true of Micah Parsons. Hendrickson, okay, maybe it took him a little bit longer, but we know Trey Hendrickson is really, really good. But I think to, again, emphasize what you're saying, Shamar Stewart is having troubles before he even plays a snap. And he's seeing what's happened to the stars of this football team, by the way, right? The Higgins stuff wasn't super smooth. The Hendrickson stuff's not smooth. It brings a lot of frustrations, I am sure. I do want to pivot, though, Cap, while we have you, because there was news today that Will Levis is actually going to get season-ending surgery. The timing of this a little odd, but it now leaves no doubt, and I don't think there was much, that Cam Ward is going to be this team's opening day starter. I'm wondering if you've heard anything around Tennessee and Cam Ward since they've been able to get him in their building and their excitement for the first overall pick.
They are. One source told me he's all ball. It's football, and family. He's not a guy who's going to go out super competitive. He was going to start week 1 anyway. Will Levis, the reason why they didn't trade him is they wanted an insurance policy if Ward wasn't ready, but they fully expected Ward to be ready for week 1 to be the starter, and he will be. Now, they have to find a number 2 quarterback. Brandon Allen might be that guy who's a journeyman. Who's more of a number 3. So they've got to take a look what's out there. And by the way, there's not a lot out there. But bottom line is Cam Ward's got an enormous arm. I know people say, he played at 3 schools in college. I get that. But the tape last year at Miami was phenomenal. And he's got good leadership qualities. They're really happy. And you know what they've done, though, Kevin, is they've rebuilt this offensive line in the last 3 years. That's something that they could feel pretty good about. Defensively, they're not going to be very good. To me, on paper, they could be a 6 or 7 win team if Cam Ward really elevates them. But let's not confuse this situation with Jane Daniels and the Commanders last season. They had a better roster, and obviously Daniels was elite.
Yeah, I think the one aspect, Cap, though, that people are going to keep their eye on, Jaden Daniels stuff obviously a little different. But Bo Nix made the playoffs, right? We've seen Stroud make the playoffs. That AFC South, it always feels a little extra vulnerable, right? We don't, Houston's had some turnover, and we know this. Every year, 1 or 2 teams, when we're breaking down playoff games, we're like, what are you doing here? How'd you get into the fold? And I think it's what makes Tennessee super interesting. Cap, we really, really appreciate it. I am sure we will talk more soon.
You got it. Thank you.
All right, great stuff as always there from NFL Insider Adam Kaplan. Let's get back to the Major League Baseball board next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back at the right here on SportsGrid, it's Game Time Decisions. Major League Baseball board. Padres up 2-0 on Miami, so maybe Yuri Perez a little bit vulnerable in that spot. Pirates up 1-0, so basically Paul Skeens, what more could you want? You got a run of support. Let's talk some more Major League Baseball with the help of Joe Madden. She'll be on In Game Live tonight starting in about 45 minutes. Joe, it's always good when we get the chance to check in. I know the game is underway, but did you get involved at all with the Blue Jays-Yankees game tonight? A lot of buzz around this one with, of course, the last time they met, the Blue Jays' 4-game sweep of the Yankees put them in first place of this division, and they've been holding on since.
Yeah, absolutely. I did. I'm looking at this total. It's dropped to 7.5, and it was an 8.5 and 9 on some books, Kevin. And I think you just go there. I know we're underway and we're the bottom of or top of the bottom of the first right now. But I do think those runs are coming. Hopefully, you guys didn't play any year fees in this one because I don't think it's going to come right away here on Carlos Rodon. But I do think those runs will come. We know the Toronto Blue Jays have home field advantage in this one, and they also have the edge in the bullpen. But I think no matter what, we're going to see the runs out of both of these teams. The last time these teams matched up, the Blue Jays put what up? 36 runs in those 4 games, getting the sweep. I think this is a game where you look at both those runs coming in and both the pitchers for their strikeouts to the under. I took Carlos Rodon under the 5.5 strikeouts and parlayed it with the under in this game. And then I also took the over in this game. Then I took separately the under 5.5 strikeouts for Kevin Gosman coming in at plus 110. The problem with Carlos Rodon for those strikeouts, the number is coming in at minus 164 to the under 5.5. You're going to have to look at ulting it to under 4.5 if you're getting plus money on that on your books, unless you put it in a parlay, Kevin.
Yeah, the strikeout props, catch your eye in that game. A lot of people tonight will be betting on strikeout props. The 2 NL Cy Young favorites bouncing back and forth between Wheeler and Skeens. Skeens through 2 innings. Nice work. Only the 1 strikeout, though. For Zach Wheeler, so far in his 2 innings, he has racked up 3 strikeouts, but did give up that leadoff home run to Duran. Joe, were you backing either one of Wheeler or Skeens on tonight's slate?
No, I stayed off of both of them tonight. I looked at their strikeout props and the numbers just look so high, Kevin. And
Yeah.
for both of the pitchers, I can't take them to the under. I was looking for some combined strikeouts between the pitchers matching up versus each other. And I feel a lot more comfortable when we're starting to see 7.5, 8 out there for strikeout props doing a combined between those pitchers. And I just wasn't able to get to numbers that I was happy with. But I did back the Phillies and Zach Wheeler to record the win, which kind of brings down that price a little bit.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some of the games that are still to come, Joe. There's one here before 8 o'clock, which is Tampa Bay and Chicago. Look, it's not my favorite game on the slate, but you do have the Rays positioned as huge favorites. Maybe there could be some resistance in the market, but it feels like it's just continued to run. Is this a game that you look to get involved with?
You know, I would look at the pitcher Baz coming out here for the Tampa Bay Rays for his strikeouts. His number is high, highly juiced, the 5.5 highly juiced, but I did ult it to 7+ strikeouts. I think he can get there versus the Chicago White Sox. His 7+ coming in at plus 128. The Chicago White Sox were a team this weekend that I was able to take ult lines for them with that plus money, and they were able to cash on that. I don't think they're able to do that tonight here in this game, and I think the Tampa Bay Rays are the right side. So I'd lay the 1.5 with the Tampa Bay Rays. The problem is you're just not getting as much plus money as I would like. Now, I do think you could look at Danny Jensen here for the home run for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's coming in at plus 360 for that home run. He's had a home run in 4 of his last 5 games at home, and I do think his bat has just been so nice and hot. He should be able to hit tonight versus the starting pitching or the bullpen here for the Chicago White Sox.
Moving forward, we've got the Cubs and the Royals. No PCA in the lineup tonight for Chicago, with Kansas City throwing a lefty on the mound. It puts Seiya Suzuki into center field for this one. Seiya Suzuki, 80 RBI, didn't make the All-Star game, but he's had himself a heck of a season for the Cubbies here. Chicago a favorite at home, Joe. Is this a game that jumped off the page to you?
Yeah, it was. We're looking at weather, wind blowing in this matchup, and I do think this is going to be hard for both of these teams to be able to get the runs on the board. Now, we know the Cubs bullpen has been struggling a bit as of late, but I don't think with this weather, the Kansas City Royals, who I don't have so much faith in their offense. You know, this team is one that leaves the runners out on base a lot of the time. I do think we look at the under, and now that total is low. It's sitting at a 7.5, but I'm not afraid of the under 7.5 in this one. I think you just bet it and then be cautious when you're watching it, because I do think there's going to be nervous moments, Kevin. I think they'll get the bases loaded. You got Bobby Witt Jr., and I like what he's able to do. I think he probably drives home a run for the Royals, but at the end of the day, it stays under that 7.5. Not like the Kansas City game yesterday where Miami put 4 useless runs at the bottom of the 9th inning to make that game go over. It still hurts, as you can tell.
I can absolutely tell right away. We did see the Nerfy, by the way, in that Toronto New York game. Let's see what that live total checks in at right now. Let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, down to 7.5. So you're not far away from seeing 6.5 in that game. Certainly something for us to keep an eye on there. We're going to have Joe stick around. I want to get some of her thoughts on the late night games as well. And I'll just remind everybody, but one of the things I'm going to watch tonight is the Shohei Ohtani at the plate. Shohei tonight, well, I mean, I guess it's all fascinating, right? It's all what makes him him. But Shohei Ohtani, the first 2 times he was a starter, only went to 1 inning, was fantastic. 2 for 4, 2 RBI, and then another 2 for 4 game with 5 RBI, had a home run, 3 runs scored. But more recently, as he's up the pitch count, up the innings, he's not been hitting. It's a small sample size, 100%. But so far, this is what the sample size is. And it's something to pay attention to because of just how important Shohei Ohtani is to the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we'll get some picks from Joe involving the late slate here in Major League Baseball. We'll take a quick break with you. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single-season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do get after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay. Come on. They're allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that, the bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bench.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 guaranteed million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back with you right here on SportsGrid. One update around PCA. They let me know in the back that it was said by Craig Counsell, the manager of the Cubs, that he bruised his right knee on a slide against the Red Sox on Sunday, so he was given the day off. But they expect him back out there tomorrow. I don't know if that's a part of the Shohei Ohtani number for MVP running back up the way it has. I thought maybe it would be tied a little bit more to expectations of what he's going to do as a pitcher. I don't know if the thought is like Ohtani's going to be the one to stop the bleeding because the Dodgers have lost 3 games in a row again. I think it's very interesting to follow here. We'll see what that game brings tonight. Let's see what Joe Madden may be on for that one. Joe Madden is with us here now. She will be live, of course, on In Game Live a little bit later tonight. Joe, Dodgers Twins. Shohei's getting the ball 2, 3, maybe 4 innings. I would expect 3, if not less. What do you expect in the Dodgers Twins game?
I'm really hoping he surprises all of us and goes 4 or 5 innings out here, Kevin, because if he does, we have the ability to really cash on those strikeout props. And we know it's coming at some point. In the last game out versus, I believe it was the Giants, he was able to put 4 strikeouts on the board. He has a number of 3.5 today to the over coming in at -110. I took that, but I took the ladder, and I'm going to be taking the ladder in every single one that he comes out until he starts coming out on the regular, the 4 or 5 innings. So I laddered him to 5+ strikeouts at +220, 6+ at +490, and then 7+ at 1,500. So a quarter of a unit on each of those bats. So hopefully 4 innings, we get 5 strikeouts at least with that +220 mark. But I'm going to look at the Dodgers to be able to come into this one. Be a little frustrated after what happened to them versus the Milwaukee Brewers. I do think they're able to get the runs here on David Fiesta. We know David Fiesta is strong at getting those strikeouts, but I don't know if he'll stay long enough in this game. He's got 48 strikeouts and 48 innings pitched this season, but he's got an ERA over 5. I think the Dodgers will hit him and hit him hard in this one and be able to go over their team total of 4.5 runs. That's coming in at -118. I also like the Dodgers in the first 5 innings. It's coming in at -138 on that run line, laying a half a run.
Let's move forward, Joe, or I guess actually backwards. There's a really good pitching matchup expected between Kirby and Woodruff. I don't think I've played a Brandon Woodruff start yet. I'm a little hesitant because he's come out with the best, strikeout stuff so far of his career now in a very short window. For example, his career high K per 9 is 11.2. He's currently at 15.7. Again, it's a smaller sample size there. The number tonight at 5.5, it's juiced to the over, but you can tell the books are still a little hesitant to shoot him all the way up. Are you playing anything in Brewers-Mariners?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at those strikeouts for sure. He's coming off a game in which he was able to get 10 strikeouts versus the Washington Nationals. And I know it was the Washington Nationals, but Seattle does have some undisciplined bats out there. And I do think we're going to see him be able to get the strikeouts on the board. The problem is, so like you're saying, Kevin, his number at 5.5 is highly juiced at -178. George Kirby on the other side here for the Seattle Mariners has a 5.5 as well. It's +108 to the over. But instead of looking at that, I'm going to do the combined bats. Now, sometimes it's hit and miss to find them over on FanDuel, and it's taken them till later in the day to get those combined bets out. But I absolutely love going here with strong pitching matchups like this. If you look at them for the 12+ combined strikeouts, so both of these pitchers need 6, or we need a combination to add up to those 12 or more. It's coming in at -114. So if you really do believe in Brandon Woodruff to be able to get 7 strikeouts on the board, and you just don't want to lay the juice the over 5.5, you are better off, in my opinion, betting the 12+, because I do think George Kirby will really give us 6 himself. I do think the 12+ at -114 is great, but the 13+ is where I love to put my money, because that's where we're getting that plus money at +148. And I do think Brandon Woodruff can come out and get 8. So then we need 6 out of George Kirby, and we're set. And I do think it's a nice number here at +148 for them to be able to do so, Kevin.
Yeah, the Brewers are just fascinating. This is a baseball team that they've not only won 10 in a row. In that span, there are 6 victories against the LA Dodgers. Yeah, there are a lot of numbers that kind of tell us they're not that good, but they're also a half game back of the Tigers for the very best record in Major League Baseball. They're currently the 5th best odds in the National League. They're going to be a fascinating follow-up. Joe, we appreciate it as always. Again, everybody, make sure you tune in Game Live right after this here on SportsGrid. Starts at 8 o'clock. Joe will have you covered throughout this Major League Baseball slate. We'll have Tom Vecchio stop by next on SportsGrid.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do that after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay. Come on. We're allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that, the bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bank.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 guaranteed million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions with you on a Monday night. Major League Baseball board. A lot happening. Pirates, 3-0. Paul Skeens, got to get it done now. He's not allowed to give up any runs, otherwise it's all his fault. He only has the 2 strikeouts going so far. Giants did go first against the Braves, so that's a Yerfie if you were looking forward in Braves-Giants. We've got 5-0 still Washington on Cincinnati. 5-3 now Baltimore up on the Guardians. Laser Ramon just went deep with a man on. Let's get Tom Vecchio in the mix. We got a lot of good stuff to get to with Tom here tonight. Let's just start Major League Baseball-wise. Tom, great to see you. What are you betting? What are you on? What's the story?
I have my hit parlay back to it with Bryce Harper. Already had a double in the first inning. Kyle Stowers flew out to the warning track. For games that haven't started yet, let's see. I'm on the Cubs money line. I'm on the Rockies money line. The Brewers first 5, Dodgers first 5, and Dodgers full.
Okay, I want to dive into that Dodger stuff in a second. Can you just give me an idea, price points for the Rockies and the Cubs? Because it seems like they might be opposite ends of the spectrums, and just kind of talk people through you getting to the window on those teams and the why of it all.
So some of these I got earlier where the Cubs were, I want to say maybe they were minus 130-ish last night.
Okay.
I think that's where it was. And the Cards were maybe minus 150, 155. I think these are good prices. I just do. These are good teams. And anytime I can get a decent price against the Rockies, I'm going to do so. Like, I don't think the Cardinals are some amazing team. Obviously, that's what the line indicates, but I will certainly take a spot against the Rockies anytime I can get a fair price. And I just think the Cubs are a very good team. Despite no Cameron being on the other side, I think he's a decent young pitcher. He's not a big strikeout pitcher. There's also wind blowing in at Wrigley, so it is good pitching weather overall. I'm not expecting a ton of runs, but you give me a decent price on one of the best teams in baseball, sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, that number's come down a little bit. I think it was in like the minus 150 range. I'm seeing minus 144 on the Cubs right now. Cardinals are shooting up to around minus 168. Take me through the Dodgers bets. I think they're in a fascinating spot tonight, obviously, where they can't lose again. But that answer, they've been losing again way more, Tom, than we would have really, I think, expected for this group.
Yeah, they are. And a lot of this comes down to what you first off, I have to say, like, the only thing that's been running through my mind is, like, the books are absolutely cleaning up the fact that the Dodgers have lost this many times in a row. If you're just willing to back the underdogs, I talked about for the past 3 days on GTD with Joe and Eric twice, and then yesterday on Pro Baseball today with Donnie, just taking Brewers' first 5 money line and then buying back in at plus money if the Dodgers happen to be down, and all 3 of those have come through. So regardless of that, David Festa is just not a good pitcher. Ohtani's only going to be out there for 2, maybe 3 innings, whatever it is, and Dustin May's coming behind him. There is something to be said, and I don't want to get too much into it, but the Twins were at Colorado yesterday. So coming down out of altitude, isn't an easy thing to do. And going into altitude is certainly not an easy thing to do, but coming out of altitude and then coming back down is not an easy thing to do, especially for athletes. So I'm willing to back teams that either go from Arizona to elsewhere or go from Colorado to elsewhere, because Arizona is actually one of the higher elevation stadiums.
Tom, something or nothing. Shohei Ohtani, first 2 times he pitched, only went 1 inning. At the plate, a combined 4 of 8 for 7 RBI. The last 3 times he's pitched, he's gone more than an inning. 2, 2, 3, 1 for 12 combined at the plate. Something or nothing in your eye?
I would say nothing. If I remember correctly, the start he had on 7/12 right before the All-Star break was at San Francisco. I believe Robbie Ray was on the mound. So I would be willing to forgive some of that just because Robbie Ray is a good pitcher. So I'd say it's nothing.
Okay, I think that's. Look, I don't want to say it's nothing yet, right? To me, one of the reasons guys don't do what he, tries to do is it is incredibly taxing. And Ohtani is going about it also in a very unique way, right? He didn't want to be tasked with, simulation games and all that. He's like, look, you have to just let me pitch. You just have to let me pitch. Otherwise, it's way too much on me. And Ohtani has provided so much value as a hitter. I believe you are in the same camp as I am. He doesn't have to throw a pitch again. They maybe he shouldn't throw a pitch again because of the injury concerns that come with occasionally being a pitcher. I think that if Ohtani were to continue to struggle at the plate, Tom, you have to have that conversation if you're the Dodgers. Are 3 innings from Shohei worth if it is potentially messing up his swing, or you just have to let him work out of it because he's Shohei Ohtani?
I think the short-term answer this season would be you got to scale back the innings. We got to scale back the innings. We have a chance to win this year.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. We got Glasnow back. Snell comes back. Sasaki comes back. We have a chance to win. Going into the offseason, if they have a full plan and he's able to get fully healthy and work through things in the offseason and then in spring training, it may be a short term, hey, we have to reel it in, and then long term, he may be actually to fix it, but that could happen a year from now. We just don't know. So there is a point to be had of hey, we gotta cut back the innings and we're not pitch at all.
I find look, I think that this team is so interesting because it's 2 schools of thought, right? They have the worst record in baseball over the last or the second worst over the last 3 weeks. Yet they're 2 games back for the best record in baseball overall, right? Yeah. It feels like in large part, a lot of people other than Will Smith and maybe Yamamoto and I don't know how you want to scale the Ohtani thing, are kind of disappointing. And again, here we are, right? So it feels like there's a world where we get to September, they turn it on, and it's yeah, come on, what are we doing? Obviously, they are winning the World Series. There's one thing I've come back to, Tom, and I don't know, maybe you'll say that this doesn't matter, but the Dodgers started 8-0. And so it was the 2 games right against the Cubs, and then they came back and they swept the Tigers and the Braves.
Right.
And it felt like they were never going to lose. Now, obviously, you're going to lose, but it felt see, you cannot mess with this team. Since that quick 8-game burst, they have the 10th best record in Major League Baseball. Not bad. They're 50-42. Those 8 wins happened. I'm 100% they happened. To me, for a very long part of this season, they have been a part of the best teams. They have not felt the dominant way that they were supposed to feel, I feel, since that 8-0 start.
There's absolutely an argument to be had for that. They've had like a roller coaster season, like a lot of peaks and valleys, where Tommy Edman was awesome, right? And Max Muncy was terrible. And then Tommy Edman gets hurt, and then Max Muncy finally turns things around. And Mookie was good to start the year. Mookie's now terrible. And Freddie Freeman started the year hurt. He came back. He was on fire. He went through a little bit of lull. He got hit on the hand last night. Pages stepped up. Andy Pages in center field. He stepped up. He was playing great. And all of a sudden, he's not playing great. And you're mixing and matching these parts, and then they bring up Dalton Rushing, their top catching prospect. Like, there's so many different moving parts that individual players have been really good at times, and Will Smith, as you said, has been basically good the entire time. And then you have to mix in the pitching injuries that they had, and Sasaki gets hurt, and Glasnow and Snell get hurt, and then so they've looked good at times, but it's never been all together outside of those 8 games, I think, is the point that you're making.
Well, and yeah, right. The other issue for this Dodger team. Now, they did it last year, right? They never were like fully healthy. Right. And they still won. But they are, I want to bear with me for a not perfect comparison, but like with the Clippers, where people are like, what if they're healthy? Don't be ridiculous. The Clippers are like never going to be fully healthy, right? The Dodgers are obviously so much better than the Clippers, but like, when Snell's back and Glasnow's, stop. Enjoy every Glasnow start you can. It's what it is. We're going to bring a little football into the mix. We're with you right here. It's Game Time Decisions on.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do that after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay. Come on. We're allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that, the bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bank.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, back at the right here on SportsGrid. Phil's tied it up against Boston, so that's big for anybody who did play the Phil's money line, probably more so money line parlay players, but gives you an idea. Wheeler has 5 Ks through 4 innings. Skeens is back out there, so we'll check in with him at the bottom of that inning. Atlanta, all over. Birdsong. He didn't get an out. Oh, my goodness. Hold on a minute. What is this? He just couldn't throw a strike.
No.
Walked the first batter.
Song, more like Hayden Fowl music. But
all right.
That's a different story.
All right, come on. This guy went out there, went walk, double, walk, hit by pitch. That's not great. I'll be the first to say it.
That's one way to put it. Honestly, thank you for taking such a brave stand by saying that's not great.
That Braves pun right there, better than whatever you just did with Birdsong's name. So, Tom, there's a lot of conversations going on out there right now in the landscape. Quarterback rankings, roster rankings, running back rankings. The Kevin Walsh Show, SportsGrid podcast, we tackled the quarterback rankings in a 2-part episode, which is out there right now. I encourage everybody to check that out. I was wondering, if I put Tom through the exercise of top 10 quarterbacks, what would he see? What would jump out to him? So let me ask you this quickly, Tom, because I think this is important going into this upcoming NFL season. Is Patrick Mahomes your number one quarterback? If yes, how much did you consider having somebody else in that number one spot?
So my take on lists like these come down to what you value. And like Mahomes is at the mountaintop. He is. He's proven it. Yeah, I know the numbers last year, Kevin. You talked all about it, where the underlying metrics for Mahomes didn't look good. But until someone knocks you off that mountaintop consistently, I still think he is the best quarterback in the league because he will win when it counts. And it's like the Brady factor. When Brady was going versus Manning, like there were years that Manning had more yards than him, more touchdowns, but Brady was still, quote unquote, the best. So for me, Mahomes is the number one quarterback in the league because despite not having the best metrics, despite not having the best yards, if you want to dig into EPA and CPOE and EPA and CPOE composite and success rate, he's not in the top 5 in a lot of those, but he still makes the Super Bowl. So when it comes down to winning, he is the answer. Now, after that, it's a far more interesting conversation because in that second grouping, I would put Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson in any combination that you really want. I could argue for different reasons for different ones. When we look at Josh Allen, he led the league last year in EPA per play at 0.31 or 0.32, depending on where you're looking. But Joe Burrow had the second highest success rate. And we look at, different types of points added. Well, we're going to have Lamar added in some higher compared to Josh Allen. And then we're going to have Joe Burrow one because his completion percentage is higher. But then we have this area where Jalen Hurts doesn't have as good as passing numbers as a lot of these quarterbacks, but Jalen Hurts also won. So what are we talking about when it comes to winning? Well, are we talking about being a good quarterback or are we talking about winning? Because I can then make the argument that we should have a Goff, Stafford, Jaden Daniels tier, and Stafford should be in there because he puts up the numbers and he's also won. So a lot of it comes down to what argument you were trying to put forth. I think it's clear that Mahomes is one still, and I would be willing to make the argument that Burrow is the second best quarterback in the league because when it's all said and done, he's the only quarterback that's ever gotten past Mahomes, right? It's not Josh Allen. It's not Lamar Jackson. Again, I'm talking about the AFC.
Okay.
I'm talking about the AFC. Yes, Hurts has gotten past him, and so has Tom Brady. So those, but I'm saying at least it's a pretty good list to have. But when it comes to the AFC, it's like Allen, Lamar, have your MVPs. But at the end of the day, Joe Burrow is the one that has proven it to try and knock off the king off his throne, at least when it comes to the AFC.
So what I would say in relation to Burrow is Joe Burrow having those playoff victories, right? Joe Burrow has made as many AFC championship games as Josh Allen. Joe Burrow has more playoff wins than Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow hasn't been in the playoffs in 2 years. How do you want to balance those things? Because at the end of the day, if you're the best quarterback in football, that should be enough to get you in the playoffs, right? If you're the second best quarterback in football, that should probably be enough to get you in the playoffs. Now, you want to have margins for error, absolutely. But Burrow also, for basically 3 straight years, doesn't play football until week 2 or 3 or 4. That can't be a thing. That just can't be. The thing that I would argue, Tom, to push Burrow further down your list, while the postseason record, right, we like, the numbers aren't as gaudy as I think occasionally the memory suggests. I'll just put them side by side. Real simple. Joe Burrow has 10 total touchdowns to 4 interceptions in his postseason career. Josh Allen has 32 total postseason touchdowns to 4 interceptions. His passer rating is a 93.8 in the postseason. It's a 101.2 in the regular season. Joe Burrow has as many 300-yard playoff games under his belt as does Jalen Hurts. Burrow's success in the postseason absolutely involved him. I almost feel as Burrow had to do, say, this most recent regular season, Tom. We've almost now started to rewrite history of, oh, well, that's how the playoff games looked as well. No, they didn't. They didn't look like what last season looked like at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to like what argument you want to make. You want to make the argument that Joe Burrow doesn't start the season until week 3, week 4, whatever it is. Like, that's unacceptable. Absolutely. But I also could make the argument that Lamar Jackson ends the season at week 17 and he doesn't show up in the playoffs, and that's unacceptable. So again, like, having turnovers and playing poorly in the playoffs is unacceptable if you're the MVP and supposedly a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league. So starting slowly. Both things can be true.
So, and what I would say in Lamar's defense, Tom, of all the advanced metrics and honestly just some of the on-your-face numbers, Lamar was much better in last year's postseason despite the fact that they did lose that game to Buffalo, and I think 100%. That arrow is trending up. All right, let's check in with that baseball board, go over some of the bets what we got here for you tonight on Game Time Decisions.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Aaron Judge is great, but if you want to talk about full contributions to a team, maybe I'm biased as a former catcher myself, but I think Cal Raleigh's working a little bit harder than everybody else, and I think Cal Raleigh should be right in this thing. If he sets that single-season home run record for a catcher, I think that's probably what it's going to take for him to overtake Judge. I don't think it's impossible for him to get there. I think it's unlikely.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
The tennis players are just the worst. They're just the worst.
I do that after I get a parlay. I'm falling to the ground. I'm excited. I'm like praising the Lord. Win a parlay? Come on. We are allowed to celebrate.
I'd rather, it's okay if you hit a parlay, yes. But if you win the match, no. The player can't do that, the bettor can. It's as simple as that.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
TJ Watt going to the bank.
I don't remember the last time he had a sack in the last month of that season. And then in the playoffs, he did absolutely nothing. And then you're going to give him $41 million a year, $123 million, what, 108 guaranteed million guaranteed?
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions, we close it out here with you on a Monday night. Let's do a re-rack of the bets here. We've got Tom Vecchio with us. Maybe we've cashed. Maybe we're on our way. There was a lot of juice that we had at the beginning of our show. My favorite wager tonight, I know, again, not usually to give you a plus 276, but couldn't help myself. Halfway home, Gunnar Henderson, Aaron Judge, 2+ hit run RBI parlay. Judge intentionally walked his most recent at-bat. Doubling in front of Aaron Judge with nobody else, like, that's actually a bad job. Trent Grisham, you got to hold up at first there, pal. They did intentionally walk Judge. Jays got out of it. That game right now, trending under. Yanks, Jays, both to score 3 runs. That's Chris's best bet. Need a little bit of wake up there. Still plenty of time in that game. Still to come, Cardinals, Rockies over the 11.5 for Sam. A's money line minus 102. And I know, Tom, for you, that Dodgers game still to come where you have your eyes certainly focused late night.
Yeah, I do. There's a little bit of juice. Again, we are dealing with different things because Ohtani's only going to be in the mound 2-3 innings, whatever it might be. Dustin May apparently is going to be following him. Dustin May's a good pitcher. He's not great. Once a highly touted prospect, dealt with some injuries. I don't think David Festa is a good pitcher when it's all said and done. Yeah, it's not going to be the same Dodgers lineup. I would have to double check, but I assume Freddie Freeman's not in it today after he got hit yesterday and left the game early. But I just like the price point on the Dodgers, and I'm willing to fade again a team coming out of the Rockies like the Twins are, who are just super average to begin with.
Yeah, this is a team also maybe trying to switch things up a little bit. Did they do this in the most recent game? I'm seeing Mookie Betts is batting in the leadoff spot. Yeah, they did. For the first time in the most recent game, that was the first time Mookie hit leadoff. So maybe they're trying to just kind of, move that mojo around a little bit. Could be good for a Shohei RBI prop, right? If you're willing to back Ohtani, just not batting first makes it a little bit, you get more chances for a guy to be on in front of you. That's all, right?
Sure.
Maybe less at bats. It probably cancels out actually when you grade it. Paul Skeens, 4 Ks through 4 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs. Let's see what the Cy Young price looks like. Minus 115 Wheeler, minus 110 Skeens. Tom, I don't know if I brought this up with you, and I don't want to, burn a really good conversation, but Paul Skeens' record, should it determine the Cy Young race? I'm not saying that. But I do not think, if you just say, hey, Paul Skeens is going to finish the season 8-10, 9-10, do you think he wins Cy Young? I would pretty confidently say no. I think the baseball landscape's evolved enough, but I don't think that much.
It's not record. I mean, I would have to double check, but last time I saw, I think it was at the break, that they had the same amount of innings pitched. I think it was 116 when it was at that mark, where Wheeler had 20 plus or 21 more strikeouts compared to Paul Skeens in the same amount of innings pitched. And then again, after the record, if we just subtract that, if you look into the other stats, Wheeler's been there neck and neck the entire time, if not better in areas.
So I don't want to mitigate or downsize Wheeler's case to he's not as good, but he's got a better record. I'm not saying that. But I wonder, and we were talking about this, some of the guys pre-show, if Skeens has the better case. If it's like Skeens is the right answer here, but he's 7-10, Wheeler wins 15 games. I don't know. I don't know. And we'll see how numbers move tonight. Both guys are in line to get in line to get a win tonight. Wheeler probably is only going to go one more inning, though. He's got 87 pitches through 5. One of the interesting things I was looking for tonight, Tom, is just how long they let Skeens go, because they started to slow him down going into the break.
Yeah, and that's a very valuable thing where, again, if Wheeler's ahead in strikeouts now, if he gets an extra inning or two every start in August, every start in September, you're going to look at him like, well, hang on, he's got more innings pitched. He's got definitely more strikeouts. I mean, even if you look at the strikeout rate or K per 9, Wheeler's ahead. He has fewer walks. The F war, the B war, whatever you want to look at it, man, it's a strong case for Wheeler.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really fun race for us to follow the rest of the way here. Also, Senga got absolutely blown up all of a sudden here by the Angels. That's 4-0. Red's going to make a game of it all of a sudden. That's game 7-5 now. A lot of runs in that game, 17.5. Stanton homers, Yanks up 1-0. 5-1 Braves. A lot of good stuff. Tom, a lot of good stuff. In-game live next, right here in Sports Grid.